Hey, welcome back ADF fans. Today we're going to talk a little bit about building some generic data quality features into your data flows. I'm going to talk a little bit about data quality for your data itself, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about using the metadata that you can capture from your data and your data flows, and how to ensure that you have the right quality of data using the metadata. So let's start first with the data. On my design service for my data flows, I have pretty much a blank data flow. I've called it DQ02. That's for data quality, not for Dairy Queen. And I have a single source on here, and this source is going to be a generic folder. So this is a text-limited data set. Let's take a look at the data set real quick. You'll see that it is comma limited, but I'm not pointing to anything but just my container and blob. All right, and the reason why I'm going to do that is because I want you to see how you can use generic patterns for these data quality routines so you can make them and reuse them over and over again. So the way that you test with this, the way that you use a generic source like this is you parameterize it. Now there's a couple different ways to parameterize it. In this demo, I'm going to parameterize at the data flow level. So I have a data flow parameter called file name, and I have a folder called sample data off of the container, and then I have a file name moviesdb.csv. To use that, I apply that parameter in my source options right here under wildcard paths. So I just went into expression builder and I entered that parameter $file name. So now when you go to data preview, the debug settings will take that default value. So I set a default value as you saw in my parameter. You don't have to set a default value, but it makes it easier for debugging. If you were to use debug settings, click this button here. You can set the parameter value here as well, pretty much just as easy. But I'm cheating a little bit and I'm just setting a default value. And then there is my moviesdb.csv coming in from the parameterized data set. Now notice that in that data set, again, I don't have any schemas. This is late binding schema drift. So I have schema drift turned on and I have no projections. So in that data set, you will see there's also no schema. This will allow me to use any data sets with this data quality routine. However, this data flow now is completely schema drift. So you see that on the data preview, each column is listed as drifted. So what happens then is when you look at inspect, you see nothing. You will have no metadata at all. So the way you work with it is a couple of different ways. One way is, this is a little bit sort of cheating. This kind of creates the metadata out of the drifted fields, but then does not make it generic any longer. But if you click on the map drifted button, we will generate a schema for you here in a derived column. Now when you go to inspect, you'll see a full set of the metadata. But that's not what I'm going to do here. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say that I want to make sure that I have no title that is repeated. So I have the data a little bit sort of manipulated so that you can see there are some duplicates in there. And so faulty towers from 1975 is listed multiple times in my data set. I don't like that. I'm going to get now the actual title is FAWLTY, and I don't want the year in there. So this record, the third one, is actually one that I want. So there's a couple of different ways to work with that. I'm going to use a derived column just to show you, and I'm going to just call this field as my dupe title. And then I'm going to use SoundX. So SoundX will take the phonetic pronunciation of that title and we'll look for duplicates. It's going to codify it, and then you can see if it's repeated. So you just use SoundX, and then which string do you want? Now remember, I have no metadata here, so I can't just say SoundX of title. I have to use byname. Byname instructs Data Factory to go and find a column with this string name in its title. Okay, if it does not match, then this will not work. This will fail. But it also means that I can have any data sets that has the column title in it work with this data flow. Makes it very generic and reusable. There you go. So now let's go ahead and do a data preview, and let's look to see what data flow is going to put in that field for the my dupe title using SoundX. Okay, because each name says faulty towers, it matched with the exact same code for each one. Okay, so that's not going to necessarily get what I want for this dedupe checker, but it does tell me that I do have some duplicates. It just doesn't help with deduping, but it does tell me that these four are essentially the same record. All right, let's try something else now. This time for the preview, I'm just going to stay right in the expression builder. You can preview right from the expression builder as well. This might be a little bit easier for this one. So there is another sort of way to look for similar names or strings within data, within data flows, and we have exposed the Levenstein algorithm to compare. So I'm going to say that I want to actually look for the real name of the title, which is Faulty Towers, spelled this way. And I want to compare it to the incoming title field. Okay, there we go. Now, this is going to give you an integer value of the difference, the distance essentially between those two strings. Now, when you are reviewing or previewing your data here in the expression builder, you're only going to get the column or columns that you're working on. So what I'm going to do is to make it visible to myself as to what the original title is that's coming from the data. I'm going to just do this. I'm going to say add to that a space and then the value of title, so I can see the original title compared right next to it. Now, Levenstein will produce a integer value, so I'm going to wrap that in a two-string casting so that everything is going to be a string. This is just for my output. Beautiful. So let's go ahead and refresh, and we'll get the results at the bottom. And now we should see how different, the amount of difference every title string is to the Faulty Towers title that I really want to find. Alright, so now we see that Faulty Towers with the string of the year associated with it in the title is 8 off, whereas Faulty Towers is just 2, and that's because I had lowercase in my name. So you could either just force this to lower, or you could use uppercase, and you'll get from it'll go from 2 to 0, and then you'll know which one is the exact match that you were looking for. Also, you will then see how different these others are, so you can decide what you want to do with these. So you can say, well, this was only 1 off, so that's also a match. These are only 6, and that is, and of course the others are way far off because they're not even close to that. Okay, so it's a little bit of working with mastering some data. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure that every, say I have a file that comes in with address data in it and that has US zip codes in it. I want to make sure that I only want to pass through records that have a 5-digit zip with the -4-digit extension on it, these newer zip code formats. And a good way to do that is to use regular expressions. And so let's do that. So I don't have any zip codes in this data, but I do want to show you how you can use derived columns to create some sample data. So what I'm going to do is create a derived column that will use the concept of sampling or splitting my data into 2 different streams. Now the way I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a surrogate key before this. A surrogate key will just uniquely number and sequentially number each of my rows. So I'll just call it SK for surrogate key. Now what I can do with my derived column is I can create a zip code. I'm going to create a generic synthetic zip code, and I'm going to use a value that's going to be applied to it if using modulo. So I'll say if the modulo of SK, my surrogate key, I'll use 2 so I can get evens and odds, and I can say if that is equal to, we'll say 1, then I'm going to apply a valid zip code. So we'll set it to a proper newer style of US zip code, 12345-1234. Otherwise we'll set it to something that's not correct, which we'll just say 12345. We don't want that one, we want the newer style. Okay, great. So now what happens when we refresh this is we are going to get a value put in zip code that's going to alternate between each. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a regular expression to bring in just the valid ones. And there's obviously ways you can do this without using regular expression, but I think regular expression is very powerful, and I want you to be able to see how you can use that. So now you do a conditional split, and you're going to build your formula inside of a conditional split. This is essentially your if statement inside of the flow. The if statement we used back here is your if within an expression. This is the if or the branching within a data flow. Okay, so the first one is going to be, we'll call it the stream valid, and the second stream we'll call it invalid. We only need the condition for valid because everything else is the default that falls into invalid. So what we want to do here, so in the conditional split, we need to have a Boolean return value here. So I'm going to use regex match, and this will return true or false if this matches. Okay, so the incoming string is that zip code that we created. Notice the zip code is in the metadata on the input schema because we created it as a field. Same thing with the surrogate key, we created that through the surrogate key transformation, and my div title as well. Those are all created, so those are all hardened early binding fields. Okay, so zip code, and then the now when you do regex in Data Factory, you want to use a tick marker and put the regex in between those ticks, and this is the formula for looking for 5 digits and 4 digits for the zip codes. This works very well for this case. Now when you refresh, what you'll get in the preview is you'll get checks and X's to let you know whether or not they match. We should have every other row matching with a valid zip code. And there we go. So what happens now is when you come out of here, everything that is valid will go through this row on the top, and everything that's valid will go through the bottom row. So let me switch over for the last part of this demo for talking about data quality with metadata itself. Now we've created 3 new columns, and we had the columns that come in through the schema drift at the beginning. And to collect all that metadata together, we have a function that you can work with in Dataflow that is called column names. So I'm just going to create a new column here in my derived column, call it calls, using column names. So all you do is you just type in column names as the function name. You don't need the stream name unless you have multiple streams you want to pull from just one stream. And let me just go ahead and save and finish and come out of here and show you what you get for this when you preview this. What you're going to get now is you're going to get a column that is going to be an array. So that column names is going to return an array of every column in your metadata. So your data itself is going to be on rows, and then your column names is going to be up here under columns. Pretty tricky. And if you hover over and you click on it, you will see that you get all those plus the ones you created. So you even get the drifted columns as well. Now it's very useful, and you can do things to work with that. Like you can look to see to make sure that your data has at least these 3 columns or all of these columns, and you can do that just by checking the metadata without needing to use the lookup or other activities within a pipeline. And so one thing that you could do is you could have a conditional split that looks for whether or not there's existence of those columns, or you get even a little bit trickier, and let's do something that's kind of interesting to show you some other transformations here. Let's filter this down to just one single row, and I can do that pretty easily because I have a surrogate key on here now, so I can just say give me the SK of 1. Now we only have one row, and with that one single row, all I have to do then is flatten. So flatten, click flatten here, and flatten, what it does is it takes your arrays and denormalizes those values from each elements index in your array into row values. And so I don't want any of these other things. I just want the metadata output from this. You may want this as a very simple data flow. You unroll by that new array that you created, and what you're going to get now is one single value for each of your columns. So you've essentially swapped your column metadata for row values. And there it is. Just output that, and you can examine that, see if the file is formatted the way you like. Okay, so those are some interesting ways to work with data quality within Azure Data Factory's data flows. Thanks for watching.